Howdy, howdy, and welcome back to some more Shoals diving. This is dive number 4. This is also a night dive, actually, and probably my favorite dive of the entire trip. Just thinking back, I think I saw more fish on this dive than any of the others. But maybe not. Like I said, I haven't looked at the videos yet, so I'm going to be watching them basically at the same time you are. Kind of pumped for that. See what I caught. I think I remember some little fish actually chasing after my light, kind of like bugs drawn to a light. Don't know if I got that on camera or not. We'll see. Just looking at the dive profile here, you'll notice kind of boring vanilla in terms of depth. So for this dive, it was at night. We also had some new divers with us, so we kind of predetermined not to go very deep. That also meant I didn't have to dress up in my whole get-up, thick wetsuit, gloves, hood, the whole deal. I just had a rash guard on. So I was fine with that. This is the shallowest dive of the entire trip. Also the warmest. You can tell, yeah, it got down to 84 degrees. That's plenty warm without thermal protection, at least for me. You see that ascent and descent about at the 14-minute mark. So it turned out one of the new divers, her light started going out, and coupled with she was just feeling kind of uncomfortable, so she decided to call it, head back to the boat. We all went up to the surface then and kind of talked about it. So 2 people left at that time, and I think it was 2 of us carried on for the rest of the dive. Taking a look at the pressure, you can tell I ended with just under 1400 psi. The dive time was 52 minutes. So this is one of those dives where you're limited by pretty much how long you want to stay in the water, not so much by how much air you have. Very reminiscent of the Florida Keys dives. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think I got deeper than 25 feet on those. And the boat captain told us to be back at the boat in an hour. And unless you're just down there hyperventilating, you're not going to go through your air at that shallow of a depth in an hour. So usually your dives are timed by how much air you have, but if you stay shallow like this, the limiting reagent is time, not air. All right, let's jump right into the footage. Oh, so we started at twilight. More of a twilight dive that leads into a night dive. That's better, especially when you have, I think, new people with you. So on this trip 2 years ago was my first night dive, and that was like career dive number 3 or 4 for me, which is pretty early. We did the same thing, kind of a twilight dive, so you can kind of ease into the night part of it. And we had a brand new diver with us, so I think that was also partly why we chose to do the twilight. Also, something about dive trips. They're just as much about, you know, drinking, having some fun, and you can't do that while you're diving, so you're waiting all day for this night dive, staying sober. Yeah. It's a tug of war sometimes. Should I dive? Should I crack a fresh one? So you're ready to get that final dive over with most of the time. This was dive 3 for this day, and they were spaced out a lot. I'd have to look at my computer to find the service intervals, but it was probably 3-4 hours between this dive and the last one. But anyway, we caught the descent that time, so here we are. Not shallow, or not deep. We are shallow. We're just trying to follow a wall kind of around the corner from where the boat was. And I said I remember seeing some fish. Haven't seen any yet. I think what I saw was on the way back to the boat, so the fish may not show up until later in the video. But I thought the visibility was okay. It's not as good here as it was at 70 feet, but it's better than what I remember this shallow during the day. Alright. Looks like it's starting to get darker here. Moving on from twilight into night. You see those flashing lights? So I had one too. It's a light that you put on the top of your tank where the valve is. It just kind of makes it a little easier to see, you know, where your friends are. One guy brought all those, so he had all different colors. Mine was green. As you can see, there's a blue one there. I think somebody had yellow. There. Nothing too exciting. All the fish I did see were tiny ones. I do remember that. But I still think I saw more later in the video. Ah, the red. So my light also has these 2 red LEDs that get very little use from me. I was curious to see how they'd look on camera. That's the first time I've seen it. In the instruction manual, it tells you that's for sneaking up on little critters without disturbing them. Not sure that's necessarily how that works in reality. I was shining my red light on a few of them and swam up to them, and they weren't very impressed, so might be more of a gimmick than a real thing. But I'll tell you what it is good for is walking around the boat at night. You know, it's dark. If you turn on a real flashlight, especially one as bright as this, it's blinding. So it's great to have the red LEDs, let you see what you're doing without burning your retinas out. By the time your pupils adjust and you turn the light off, then you can't see anything for the next 5 minutes. So the red light's good, at least on the boat. Suspect usage in the water. But what do you know? More rocks, folks. Check out these rocks. These are the shallow rocks. These are the sunbathing rocks. They like to catch some sun. Like to stay warm. There's a fishy. Oh, there's a few of them. Hey guys! Probably not enjoying the light in their eyeballs. Just keeps getting darker and darker. Looks like I'm diving with a bunch of fireflies. A red, blue, and yellow firefly. Yeah, I think this was right around the time our dive buddy started having trouble with her light. Lights they had were weak anyway. I mean, you can see, I'm looking over there and all I see are the LEDs flashing on the back of their tanks. Yeah, I don't know, maybe they just don't have them turned on right now, but that seems foolish on a night dive, so. There's a fish. Hey, buddy! It's dark. I don't know, diving at night doesn't really freak me out. I guess it does some people. I learned in murky cold water, as I've mentioned many times before, so night dive really isn't all that different from that. When you're under the water, 50, 60 feet down at Mermet, in the middle of the day, it's freezing cold and dark, so it doesn't really matter what it's like outside to me. And yeah, it's a little darker here, but I was diving in the Sister Lake, Norfolk, last year, and I have video of this. A dust cloud from the Sahara Desert blew over, settled on the lake, and we got about 60 feet down. It was pitch black like this, absolutely pitch black. It was clear, but it's completely dark. You would have no idea it was daytime above you. Kind of interesting, a little freaky. Ooh, starting off with some red. Is there something there? Oh yeah, there was a fish there. Didn't even see it in the red. Looks like the GoPro has a little trouble focusing too. That's kind of interesting. Whatever its focus algorithm is, it must be... I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. It might be sending out an infrared light itself, which might be getting washed out in the red light, maybe? I'm totally guessing. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at that, or I'm sure I've got some more red in some of these videos coming up, or some of the future segments. This is a bit of a bummer so far. I thought I remember seeing more fish on this dive, but... Uh-oh. I heard something beep. I don't think that was my computer. I do have about 7-8 segments left, so... maybe there's some more fish on those. So far, I hope you like rock ledges. Easily entertained, I hope. Oh, look at that. Boom. 16 feet, 61 air pressure. I might have to pause and take a look at that. Yeah, my computer has a glowing backlight, so I shine my light on it, bring it up my face, and I can read it easier. It also has a built-in light. Actually, all the dive equipment, well, not all the equipment, the gauge cluster, my compass, I have a gauge cluster that's compass, remaining pressure, and depth. And all those are glow in the dark as well. And my computer face is too, as you just saw in the last segment. So you can shine your light on any of those things and they glow for a bit. As I said, the computer also has a built-in backlight. It's reminiscent of the Timex, was it Indiglo, I think is what it was called, back when I was 10, which was like the coolest light you could get for a watch. Because I remember I used to have these digital watches with these crappy little, like lights, which, thinking back, I don't know how they did that, because I think that was long before the time of LEDs. So they must have had tiny little light bulbs in there, I don't know. But the Timex Indiglo came out and it was, wow, that was hot shit. You push this button and boom, you get this nice, even, backlit screen. You could see everything. Yeah, I used to have one of those. That was a cool watch. Oh, yeah, I found that cable. I don't know what that cable is. I almost ran into it here, I think. But, yeah, I prefer, shining my light on my computer and having it glow for a bit, just to save battery in the computer. I keep waiting for that battery to die. It hasn't done it yet. I'm sure it's going to die on me at the most inopportune time. You know, that can wreck your dive trip. Because your computer is keeping track of all your dives, you know, of your nitrogen level. It's this model that just keeps ticking, you know, overnight. It takes all your dives on a trip into account. I think you need to not dive for like 2 straight days, you know, 48 hours before it registers the next dive as a new group of dives. So if your computer dies in the middle of that, then, you know, obviously all that information is lost. You can't just pick up a new computer and, you know, it's not going to know your past diving history. But in reality, that's probably what I do anyway. Just don't tell the dive police that. See, look at that fish. He kept on swimming away from me, even when I changed to the red. Sneaking up on critters. Not buying it. Look at him. He doesn't mind the bright light. I think the red is just a gimmick. But like I said, great for navigating the boat at night. So this is getting into the part of the dive where I thought I started seeing some fish, where I thought they started chasing my light, so we'll see. Hopefully there'll be something cool to see here in the next few segments. So my buddy finally turned his light on. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Not heeding my calls. Where are you, fishy? What are we doing here? We're just hanging out in the same spot. Why aren't we moving? There we go, finally. What the hell was I looking at there? Must have been something. Yeah. No fishies. There's Buddy. There's rocks. No fishies. There's a fishy. There's a fishy. Alright, these the fishies chasing my lights. Chasing my light. I'm not sure I got the best of that on camera. There was a time when I thought about 10 of those things were just darting in and out of my beam. Really close to the, you know, the light, really close to me. But I have a memory of not really capturing that, unfortunately. I think what you just saw there was the remnants of it. I don't know, I'm not seeing a whole lot on this footage. There's another little one. I'm not sure why I remember this as being my favorite dive, but I think it was. Maybe it was just the anticipation of getting back to that boat to crack open a fresh one, you know what I mean? There's the little one. There we go. I saw those. I'm gonna have to rewind and look at those. There were some those were about 2 inches long and kind of blue translucent. They were really very pretty. That wasn't a great shot of them. Here we go. Probably my best footage of one of those fish I was talking about, the blue ones. I think. Is that even one? I think that was one, although you can't see it that well in the video. They were really pretty. I didn't see those during the day at all. Yeah, there's a little fishy darting around. There's his friend darting around with him. Boy, they can change directions on a dime. Wish I could swim like that. I think we're getting towards the end here. Boy, you almost got a neon green at night versus that more of an olive green during the day. Fishies in the light. Maybe this is the part where I was thinking of. Yeah, this is it. Where these fish were just darting in and out of my light like bugs at night. They were doing it, so I started this footage late. They were doing that for about 20 seconds before I turned the camera on, I think. And this is it. Last leg of the night dive. It was a good one. Not too deep. I dipped down into the cold part, just past the thermal cline a few times. Boy, there they are. Okay, this is it. This is it. Finally. This is what I remember. Okay, I did get some of that on camera. That's good. Yeah, there's a bunch of them just going after that light. If there are any aquatic spiders, they would have had a field day spinning a web in my light. I think there are aquatic spiders, but not down 20 feet. There are some spiders that fish, I believe. Grab fish from the surface. I don't think they dive down underwater and get anything, though. I'll have to Google that. Alright, that's the end of this dive. Night dive. Hope you enjoyed the blackness. Dive number 5 is next. Hope to see you there.